Hello friends and welcome back for episode 61 of our Terraria 1.3 Let's Play. So today is back to traditional recording style. I hope you guys didn't mind too much that I did a bit of a grind stream for the last 3 episodes. Basically the premise was I needed to get a bunch of stuff done in quick succession that I didn't necessarily have a lot to dialogue about as far as like in-depth stories or things to really ramble on about for very long. So I thought, hey, we'll open it up to chat. Let people hang out, and we'll try and get our fishing and stuff done. And, you know, to the most part, we kind of got a lot of the stuff done that we needed to get done. Not completely, of course, because as you might remember, well, I've got 2 out of the 3 of the pieces that I needed for my fishing stuff, which is going to then supplement towards my GPS, or cell phone, rather, which I don't entirely have sorted out, but it's going to mean that I get to free up all these inventory slots eventually once I have the last of these 3 pieces. So it's a pretty important goal for me. The other thing was I wanted to try and get the megaphone and all the stuff that I need left for the Ankh shield. We didn't quite make it through that either. We did find a frozen turtle shell, which is pretty cool, and we did get another few biome keys, which is also great. Specifically, we've got a couple of crimson keys, which was an odd but fantastic thing. We actually got an ice biome key, so we got our little auto turret dude that hangs out with us. I'm not really using him right now, but he's a cool guy, and we'll probably bring him around at some point. And, you know, in general, we've made some more progress, and that's really all I could ask for. And in that process of making that progress, I realized one of the other things that I was missing is I don't have the snow globe to summon the Frost Legion. So I figured, hey, we'll do the Frost Legion today. And I believe there's a couple of drops that I can get from that, perhaps. Should only take a few moments. It's not a very difficult task, especially when we're this far along with things. There is now a Frost Legion approaching, so we may as well give it the old college try. I don't know where that saying originated from. You know, if you're going to college, you should probably give it a try, right? Like, you should really not just immediately give up. It's probably fairly self-evident. Anyway, what else? Beyond this, I also need to just probably try and do some of the fishing tasks for the day. The more that I can get done, the better. We're also going to be working on our achievements list, which, if you remember last time I showed those off, we're like 90% of the way through them all, maybe even higher than that. A lot of them are just like fish a million times. The next one is at 25, we're at 10 out of that so far. Then there's one at 50, one at 200, which I think is kind of absurd. And somewhere in there we get a golden fishing rod. So like 4 out of the remaining, what, 1, 2, 3, I already scrolled it. There's like less than 10 achievements, so like probably about 50% of these achievements are fishing. And don't question if the math adds up there. So one of them is survive the Frost Legion. We're gonna get that right now. Not a big deal. We're gonna fire a bee gun while wearing a full set of bee armor. I could set that up as well on this one, and like the last few are just like silly little things. So we're gonna have 100% achievements whenever the game decides to allow me to get all that fishing done. I'm surprised there's not more ones tied to specific items, like building the drill containment unit seems like it would probably be an achievement, or getting every item off the Moonlord or something like that. But doesn't seem to be the case. So where's the Frost Legion? Do I need to be by my house for that? Maybe I need to be by my house for that, which is why I'm not seeing anything. No big deal. I'll be really frustrated if it, like, just can't spawn now or something. Oh no, it's still approaching. Maybe I should just stand perfectly still, just in case it shows up. Ah, there it is. Okay, yeah, it's the same kind of problem I had, like with the UFO event that I kept walking away. I think it was the UFO event. So yeah, these snowmen are going to take like all of 10 seconds to kill, and it's 12:44 p.m., so that means we'll probably still have plenty of time to go ahead and do our fishing after this. And then when it turns into night, we could probably do a moon, because I actually grabbed a couple of Frost Moon presents from my 1.2 playthrough. Weird to go back to that, actually, after all this time. And that's where I got this, by the way. The thing for the Legion was from my other Let's Play. But it's weird to go back and see the different way that I've got my world structured and everything. Like, the setup that I had going on was, like, so much less optimized, and in fact, I think even now that I've got all the information from this playthrough, I could probably make it substantially more optimized still. So, you know, it's fun to learn these things and kind of progress a little bit, and You know, as I've played a ton of Terraria, like, my fondness for the game has not really lessened any. It's just, I just wish there was more to do, I guess. It, like, not fishing specifically. Like, I wish there were more progression things to do. And I really hope that if there are any more patches, that they can add in something like that islands idea that we had talked about in prior episodes, where you can get a boat and go to another, like, procedurally generated area where you can get new bosses and new stuff. Just in general, that would be a lot of fun. And, you know, streamlining the inventory again would be a great addition as well. But I've kind of talked about this stuff ad infinitum. The one little thing that I wanted to touch on today, while we do our semi-menial task of dispatching of tons of snowmen. Did we get, like, any drops from this, by the way? I don't even know if this is a thing that we should have expected to do. But the one little thing I wanted to touch on a little bit is negativity and how that affects YouTube channels, or how it affected my YouTube channel in general. I've noticed this seems to be a trend more recurring with Twitch series. Wow, we got, like, nothing off of this. We got a Mr. Stabby banner. I'm probably going to have to farm a bunch of these, which sucks, I don't have any more of those snow globes. I'm going to have to probably reset my time or wait until it's actually winter or something to do it, I guess. But specifically what I wanted to touch on was, like, things like Axiom Verge and Bloodborne, which I guess I was a bit more negative on than I probably should have been during my streams, and then the ensuing VODs tend to get quite a bit of frustration by the viewers, and I feel like a lot of it, yes, is warranted. But there's also an element of it that I think I have to call into question, and that's, I feel like people are not paying attention a lot of the time when they're watching, which, again, I can't tell people how to watch, and it's not like this is stemming from some sort of expectation that, like, if I put up a video, you should like it or something, because that's just, it turns into a weird echo chamber. I'm not really good with that either. But I think sometimes I go out of my way to explain things, and I know I get onto, like, bad topics occasionally. I get in sort of a tunnel vision element when it comes to certain things. By the way, just to show you what my fishing mission is, I believe it was one that I needed to do on the surface. And I start going down, this is not the correct dude, talk to you. I go down these paths, yeah, caught in the surface underground caverns, that are more negative than I'd probably like, but I feel like for the most part I qualify my negativity with something that is usually fairly reasonable. And the big complaint with Axiom Verge, and this is not meant to be just me, like, railing against my subscribers or anything, because I really don't want to ever be in some sort of weird position against people that watch my stuff. That's silly. But the comments that I was seeing were just like, well, why are you so upset that there's so many weapons in this game? And, like, they all have a purpose. I'm like, well, the thing is, like, in the videos, I really went out of my way to explain that they don't have a purpose. Most of them are really just for one specific thing, and there's, like, 26 weapons, and maybe 1 or 2 of them are actually worth using some of the time. And I don't know if that is a good way to balance it, like, because what that ends up doing in the scheme of the game is you find the situation where you're finding all these power-ups, and the major draw in Metroidvania games is to find new power-ups and grow as a character, get more powerful and things like that. And when you find this expectation that early on in the game you found one of the best weapons already, then you go on and play it for 10 more hours, and throughout all of that you're just basically padding out this inventory of things that you find that you really don't need. I'm gonna B, by the way, to get fishing bonus here. I don't know how fulfilling that is, in general, to have all of these items that are just sort of items for the sake of items. I mean, people were going on record as saying, like, I just wasn't using them right, or things like that. I mean, I tried them all as I picked them up, and it just feels like people weren't really listening to what I was saying. And I find this in general in a lot of videos I do, that I will go out of my way to explain stuff, and then people just kind of don't notice. And then I get these comments that, like, I explained that in the video, and I mean, it's a little bit frustrating. But I feel like this is also turning into one of those situations where sort of a spiral, where if I explain something, oh, we got the dirtfish, we should head back. If I go out of my way to say this, then I'm also becoming negative, so then it becomes like this, again, a situation where I'm being put in this bad position against my viewers, and I don't want that at all. So I need to figure out how to escape that. But I hope the solution is not just, like, not be able to explain myself, because it is a little bit frustrating to, like, not have a voice in your own videos. And this is why I feel like Twitch is somewhat superior in that element. If somebody doesn't understand something, or somebody doesn't agree with me, like, I can directly have that conversation right then and there without having to deal with, you know, wading through comments and then going back and forth, and then the very likely, and, you know, mostly always what happens is that things just get distorted like a game of telephone. And the distance and the fact that you have to write things out without vocal inflection ends up creating this problem where people just don't understand each other. And I hate that. It's just this obfuscation of ideas that just gets under my skin and drives me nuts. I just want to be able to respond to people directly, and, like, that's one of the things that, in general, feels like Twitch is more fulfilling because of that. I don't have to have this sort of dissonance. I can directly deal with issues as they pop up, and I wish there was a way to do that on YouTube as well. I mean, the real only answer is there isn't. I mean, it's just being able to address things at the moment is endemic of being able to stream, and I can't do that. I don't know if I used that word properly there. Is that a gold bird? Oh, that is not my net. I don't know why, but that bird looked gold. I guess it's not. I'm going to throw this bird in the garbage. Sorry, bird. So we're just going to wait a few more minutes here, and then once it turns into night, we're going to grab the frost moon out and see if we can kill it as much as possible. Also, while I wait for the night to change over, I'm going to go ahead and pop on my heart statues over here. The other thing that I wanted to say that sucks about YouTube is I've had these videos up for, like, years, speaking specifically of the DMC playthrough, and also this weird, like, random video that I made that's sort of just, like, bizarre art. I don't even know what to call it, but it's like this machinima thing of a character from Overgrowth, and I kind of comped together a bunch of videos with audio stuff against it, and I used one of the tracks from Super Metroid in it. All of those things that I just mentioned have all gotten Content ID matches just recently, which really sucks because they've been up for ages, and then all of a sudden Capcom and Nintendo are now claiming new things that they didn't think they needed to claim a while ago, but all of a sudden they are. So I don't know what's really changed in their perspective, but it's resulted in, and not like this really matters much for, you know, monetization, as none of those videos are actually making anything anymore. But in terms of just, like, general morale, it sucks to all of a sudden be in this position where you're like, hey, these videos that were fine are now a problem. And honestly, if I wanted to have a clean bill of YouTube goodwill, I need to actually take them down, which sucks. I don't want to have to take them down. I've had them up for ages. And, like, potentially just removing an entire Let's Play over a thing that, like, has been up for years is just silly. I mean, I know it's their content, they have every right to do it, it's just, can we just, like, get a better system, please? I'm not really making money specifically off the fact that I had music from Super Metroid in that video. I used it because it just sort of complemented the situation at the time. And if I knew better now, like, if I knew this was a thing that was going to be a problem for them, I wouldn't have used it. So, I mean, granted, it's mostly my own fault. It's just frustrating. The thing that I'm mostly worried about is I have all of my VODs from the NLSS on YouTube. I use the freaking item fanfare from Super Metroid. Sorry, I'm, like, a little bit distracted by all the flashing colors apparently on the screen. And again, I know that if they decided to claim that, and then all of my NLSS VODs get claimed by Nintendo, it will be my own fault for having used that. It just sucks, because I really didn't think anyone would care about a, like, 5-second music clip that just is sort of, you know, in essence, an expression of my enthusiasm for the video game Super Metroid. Not so much that I was trying to exploit Nintendo to leverage their IP to make money. I don't think anyone ever subscribed because they felt like they wanted to hear the Super Metroid item fanfare. If that is the case, my apologies, I will gladly refund those people. I don't know, it's a really stupid position to have to be in. It's like when you're dealing with Twitch, none of this stuff ever comes up. And the fact that YouTube Gaming wants to make that a thing, like they want to actually live match music, again, they have every right to do it, but it just makes Twitch look all that much more attractive when you just don't have to worry as much about that stuff. And I don't know how they're going to address this if Twitch is going to still export videos to YouTube, now that YouTube are directly their competitor. Like, it would behoove them not to really use YouTube in that way, but they don't have a better alternative, and they don't really seem to want to be trying to come up with a better alternative, so I don't know where that's going to go. It's all very uncertain right now, and it's not like I can even stream on YouTube Gaming anyway. I have a contract with Twitch, and generally I'm pretty happy with Twitch. I have some things that I would like to be fixed, and like some general ideas about what would make Twitch better, but in terms of community and such, like, Twitch is pretty good. I don't know what the general initiative is going to be for YouTube Gaming, whether or not they're going to approach some sort of community, but I don't know if that's even possible for them, considering how YouTube just is as a company, or Google, how they are as a company. They don't really have that sort of small feeling about them, like that there's people that you can talk to, and they've made, you know, perfectly clear that they don't have people to talk to when you run into problems on YouTube. The fact that you had to be of a certain size of a YouTube channel for them to even allow you to email customer service is just absolutely ridiculous. Like, we're only going to entertain the possibility of helping you as long as there is a direct benefit to us that is tangible and measurable. Like, you don't have to be that cynical to come up with a reason why that sucks as a general means of customer policy, I don't think. Anyway, I think I've gone down this road long enough. That negativity thing that I was talking about, maybe I just need to stop being that, but, like, that's just part of who I am. And I would hope that the people that have been around long enough know that just because I feel down about something doesn't mean that I hate the whole thing in general, doesn't mean that I want to cause some kind of negative spiral amongst people, and it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm trying to dissuade people from playing that game. Because that was kind of sad to see that people in the comments on my VODs for the Axiom Verge one were like, don't let him get you down, you should still play this game anyway. If you kept listening, eventually I will go on to say that, just I didn't say it in the chunk that you watched, unfortunately. I don't know. It's hard to be both. So there's like these various hats you can put on. You can be someone who is very inflammatory in your opinions. You can be someone who is generally very objective in your opinions. You can be a critic, you can be a Let's Player. Like, some of these roles kind of overlap with each other. But there are times when people don't really make that differentiation, and they figure, hey, because you're a Let's Player right now, doesn't mean that you still care about objectivity and criticism in other situations. And even though I had a generally frustrating experience with Bloodborne, I still completely grant that it's a pretty cool game, and by most accounts I would still recommend it. I think there are some glaring errors with it, in my opinion, but that's the thing, they're only my opinions, and that's all they ever have been. I'm not calling for people to boycott Bloodborne because I didn't like a thing about it. The same goes for Axiom Verge. Just because there's 25 guns in it that I don't think really serve much of a purpose, and I know that's still heavily contested, it doesn't mean that I'm calling for people not to play it. It's unfortunate that I have to get into that kind of stuff, because for the most part, if I'm bothering to play something that long, and I played both Bloodborne and Axiom Verge through to their entirety, and pretty much 100% of them, I know I didn't do the Chalice dungeons in Bloodborne, yes, that is a fact. But I fought all of the bosses that were available to fight, and in Axiom Verge I collected all of the guns and all of the items to 100%, I even 100% of the map. So, like, I wouldn't bother to keep playing it if I was that mad about the whole thing. I thought artistically the game was fantastic. It was a tribute, a fantastic homage to Metroidvania, and I thought that the developer, the single developer that created this, really put in an amazing effort, to the likes of which I've probably not seen anywhere else. I can't take that away just because I had a disagreement about how many guns were in the game. So it feels kind of dismissive to me sometimes when people take that kind of a thing and just kind of take it out of context. Again, you have every right to have every opinion you have. It just feels sort of short-sighted that you're going to dismiss me because you didn't like what I had to say about a thing. Right? I mean, that's all I'm trying to say. I don't mean to be a jerk to you. And anybody that feels like I was specifically calling them out in talking about this, that's not the intent. The intent is just that I can have a discussion around these topics, and unfortunately I need to grab at some specific examples. I still care very deeply the fact that you care to put me into your time, the fact that you want to bother with listening to me talk. You obviously have found some sort of redeeming quality in me, even if we just don't agree on one or two specific topics. And that's fine. We're not going to agree on every single thing, and I think that's what makes there be any reason for anybody to watch anybody else. The fact that we're not all the same people. So, I mean, hopefully that stuff's fairly self-evident. It's just the people coming into these conversations sometimes, they don't see all of that. And it's too easy to mischaracterize or to sort of try to fit something into a box just for the sake of dogpiling or having inflammatory opinions. And people love being inflammatory and coming up with ways to mischaracterize or, you know, fit things into a nice, tidy classification for the sake of them. You know, I hope that that's not what it's all about. And I also grant that, again, there's probably plenty of mistakes that I've made in talking about things that have made it far too easy for these opinions to be had. I think that a better example would be something like Submerged, where I came into that game expecting it not to be that good, and as I played more and more of it, I cared very deeply about everything that was said, and although I found plenty of, I feel, pretty objective bugs and mistakes in the game, I know I'm using objective in a not the best sense here, but regardless, I still think that I came away with it with a more level-headed opinion, and I think the problem is when people hear me being negative, sort of just turning it into, I don't even know what the best way to describe this is. I get in a position where I'm frustrated, which then makes me be sarcastic about the game, and when people hear that, sarcasm is like the biggest trigger to dismiss someone's opinion, it seems. And maybe I need to avoid doing that and be a bit more earnest at times, especially if I find myself going down this road of being reasonably negative. It's not the best way to come across to new people, I know that. I guess I start to not care, and especially if I'm tired or if I haven't eaten or something, or if I've been streaming for a very long time, I take shortcuts in that respect, and that's probably not the best. In that respect, yes, you've probably got a very good point. I guess I just hope that people can still see past that at times, and don't think that I'm, like, dismissing something whole cloth because I don't agree with one or two opinions about it. So that's all. I guess I just wanted to make sure that I had my opinion heard on that specific element, because I'm just afraid that people are going to not understand what I'm all about. And yes, I do absolutely care about these games that I take the time to spend time with. That's all I was trying to say. Anyway, so that was... We got some more shoutouts. Great, the one we had, like, the most of. That was pretty much the Frost Moon. We did fairly well on it. I didn't die. We made it through a lot of fights. We only got the Violent Festive wings. Granted, these are wings that I needed, but they're not the wings that I wanted. They actually look pretty cool. Dyed black like this? They look like my cloak has gone all raggedy and metallic or something. Let's see it without the dye. There we go. I'm powered by Christmas trees. Well, I mean, that's kind of all I really wanted to talk about on this episode. This is going to probably give way to me doing another grind stream because I need to get the rest of the biome keys. I just wanted to do something in between to make sure you guys know that I'm not just going to stream Terraria specifically. Although it may have to happen for a certain time beings, it doesn't mean that's all I want to do. So be aware there is still more Terraria whether or not it is streamed. I also noticed a lot less people watched the streams, which is probably fair enough. I didn't really treat them as their own discrete episodes and such, so I know that alienates viewership, and, well, I don't know if it'll even recover the fact that I've recorded this outside of that. I don't really mean for this to sound such a negative episode. It's just kind of turned out to be that way, unfortunately. Sorry about that. On the upside, the new Metal Gear came out, and the new Mad Max game came out, and both of them are seeming to be not completely broken on PC. So that's one cynical bone in my body that is very much not justified today. It's a very nice day whenever we can find PC ports of games that are not broken. I like it a lot. I hope that's a trend that can continue to happen. Although, I believe Mad Max has not gotten the best of reviews. It looks like Metal Gear is getting fantastic reviews, and I'm looking very much forward to playing it, even as a not specifically Metal Gear fan, as I've said in prior episodes. So, yeah, that's going to be what I wanted to leave you on a happy note. I can't wait to play Metal Gear. I hope it's fun. It probably will be. Anyway, thanks everybody for watching. I look forward to bringing you another episode soon. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like on it. It really does help out, especially in times of morale depletion. Not that it's necessarily where I am, but I guess getting my butt beaten for the entire weekend, getting beaten down by lost boss rush runs. Oh my god, that's so frustrating. I got to the end of it, well, not the end of it, but I was fighting like the Monster 2 wave, and I walked into some red poop and died. After such a good run, I had Guppy's collar and everything, it didn't proc. It was so unfortunate. If you were there to see it, you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, I think I'm letting it all get to me. I need to, like, relax, eat some food, and hopefully I'll come back soon with a renewed sense of vigor and a lot less cynicism. Thanks, everybody, for watching. I'll see you next time.